So again, I gave you the odd numbered answers on Google Classroom. So you can check those, but I'll do the even ones for you. So numbers 2 and 4, the instructions say solve for y. What does it mean when it says solve for y? Get y by itself. Okay. Number 2, number 4, and number 6 are all from lesson C2, I believe. It's the lesson that has literal equations. So if you have difficulty with numbers 1 through 6, go look up C2. I believe it's the lesson on literal equations. All right, so I have to get y by itself. What do I do to get y by itself? Subtract 12x. Can 6 actually subtract 12x from it? Why not? They're not like terms, right? One has an x, one doesn't. So I can either write my answer like 6 minus 12x. That's one way. Or I could write it as negative 12x plus 6. Now I'm guessing that most people wrote it this way, and that's totally fine. Okay, but either way would be acceptable. That one was fairly straightforward, right? The big issue is when people start trying to combine the 6 and the 12 from two terms that are not like terms. Okay? Let me give you an explanation of like terms. If I was talking about coins, if I have 5 nickels in my pocket and I have 6 dimes, do I have 11 nickel dimes? Like, they're not like terms. I can't add nickels and dimes, right? I have to either convert them all to pennies so I can add them, or I just have to state I have 5 nickels and 6 dimes. I can't combine those. That's what like terms are like. I can't combine these. These are nickels, these are dimes. You can't have nickel dimes. Okay? All right, number 4. 3x minus 7y equals 42. What do I do? Again, the instructions are still solve for y. Subtract 3x. Yes, minus 3x. So I have negative 7y equals 42 minus 3x. I'm going to keep going with that instead of writing it the other way, if that's okay. Is y by itself yet?
No.
No. So what do I need to do? Divide by negative 7. Now I can either do this and call my answer y equals 42 minus 3x over negative 7. Or in this step, negative 7y equals 42 minus 3x, I can divide each part by negative 7. And what does that give me? That gives me y equals negative 6, and then a negative over a negative becomes a positive 3x over 7. And yes, for some of you that are a little ahead, you can call that 3/7 x if you want. You will be going there. Okay? One thing I want you to notice, because some of you get doing these on your own, and you seriously have the most messy handwriting that I've ever seen. And it's not about me being able to read your numbers. It's about you being able to keep things straight, because all of a sudden, someone will walk up to me and I'll say, where'd your equal sign go? Because somehow they started doing work on one side of the equal sign, they lost the equal sign, you don't have an equation anymore. How do you know what side of the equal sign you're on? Are you on the left or the right? What side do you need to move stuff to? Every single problem, you've got to think about this equal sign. It's like a wall. If you're going to cross that wall, first off, you need to know where the wall is, which means it needs to exist. Second off, if you need to subtract something from one side and move it to the other, that's fine, but I need to see the work on both sides of the wall. Okay? Seriously, the more organized you can be with your work, and I'm not trying to be your mom telling you to clean up your room, but the more organized you can be with your work on these things, the easier they become, and the more they start to make sense. Okay? All right, number 6 is another literal equation. Z equals y minus m over x, and I need to solve for x. Okay. So the term that has x in it is right here, correct? Is that term by itself yet? So how can I get that term by itself? I can get rid of the y, right? I don't want to multiply by anything until I get that term by itself. So I am going to subtract y, and that's going to give me z minus y equals negative m over x. Now what am I going to do to both sides? Multiply by the denominator, right? What's my denominator? So watch what's going to happen here. When I multiply by x, I have to multiply this whole thing by x. It's going to cancel out, which kind of scares me for a minute because I'm trying to get x by itself. But it's appearing over there. So let's see what we have left now. X times z minus y equals negative m. Something's being multiplied by x, isn't it? What's going to cancel out the multiplication? Division. So if I divide by that, I have x by itself. So my final answer here is x equals negative m over z minus y. Yes?
So if you multiply by x, if you did it the other way, is it wrong?
You can't multiply unless you're going to multiply this by x also and this. And then you're going to end up having to factor. So unless you know how to factor, don't go that way. Don't multiply first. Get that term by itself so that you can more easily get x by itself. Okay? All right, numero 8. This one's just solve the equation. So here's number 8. By the way, this is from lesson 3.1, C1. I believe it's also from Unit B stuff too, because it's kind of a continuation of Unit B. The issue here is with what? Fraction. What did we learn to do with a fraction? Multiply by the denominator. I'm going to use a different color. What's the denominator? So I'm going to multiply this whole side by 2 and this whole side by 2. So over here, I have to distribute that 2. 2 times negative 3m is negative 6m. 2 times negative 24 is negative 48. Everyone okay with the left side of the equal sign? Don't lose your equal sign. On this side, what is the 2 going to cancel out with? The denominator. So I still have a 3, and then I have parentheses 28m minus 16. So what should I do next? Distribute, right? So negative 6m minus 48 is just going to chill for a minute. And over here, I'm going to get my calculator because I don't often multiply numbers this big, but 3 times 28 gives me 84m, right? And then 3 times negative 16 is negative 48. This should be a pretty basic equation to solve. Get your m's together. It is not all real numbers. It is not no solution. Get your m's together. What do I need to do to get my m's together? Add 6m. So, negative 48 is left on the left. Over here, 84 plus 6 is 90m minus 48. Now what do I do? add 48, and I say no solution because everybody freaks out when there's a 0 in your problem. No, don't do that. Divide by 90. What does m equal? 0. Do not freak out from here and see two numbers that are the same and automatically think it's no solution or all real numbers. Because it doesn't matter that those two numbers are the same. What matters is what your variable has. Okay? It is perfectly acceptable to get an answer of 0. Now, can I check my answer? Like on the test, I might want to check my answer to make sure I know what I'm doing, right? I can check my answer. How do I do it? I plug in 0 into the original equation. If I plug in 0 here, negative 3 times 0 is 0, minus 24 is negative 24. I should get the same answer as I would get on this side. So let's see. I'm going to ignore the fraction for a minute. 28 times 0 is 0, minus 16 is negative 16, so it's really 3/2 times negative 16. Is that true? 3/2 times negative 16 is negative 24. As long as the left side and the right side are indeed equal, then I know my answer is correct. Okay, questions there? All right, number 10. Number 10. Again, it's just to solve the equation. So 2a minus 3 parentheses a minus 2 equals 4 minus a. There are a's all over the place here. Yeah? What should I do first, though? Distribute. Why am I distributing? PEMDAS. It's a way of getting rid of the parentheses so you can move on to the rest of PEMDAS. Right? Negative 3 times a would be negative 3a. And negative 3 times negative 2 would be positive 6 equals 4 minus a. Now, remember your equal sign is a wall. I have like terms on the same side of the wall. So I just add them together. 2a and negative 3a is negative 1a. Plus 6 equals 4 minus a. No solution? Oh, no. People do that. They jump to no solution because they see negative a and negative a. Well, let's see if that works out. If I add a, is it really no solution? I have 6 here equals 4. Is it no solution? It is no solution, but the only way you can jump to that conclusion is by showing me the equation at the end where your a's are gone and you have something that's not true. That's your proof that no solution is a valid answer. Okay, how would infinitely many look different? It would be the same, except this would be true. It would say like 6 equals 6 or something like that. It would be a true statement. All right, number 12 is the last one of the solving like that. Negative 7 minus 8 times negative 5r minus 7 equals negative 19 plus 6r. This is like exactly the same as the last one. Do you see how it has a term, distribute a term, 2 terms? It's like exactly the same format. So what do I do first? Distribute. The negative 7 is going to stay. Negative 8 times negative 5r, positive 40r. Negative 8 times negative 7, positive 56, equals negative 19 plus 6r. Do I have like terms on the same side of the wall?
Yes.
Negative 7 and positive 56. What do I get when I add those two together? 49. And I still have the plus 40r equals negative 19 plus 6r. Now what? Get your r's together first. That way you know where you're trying to move stuff away from. So I'm going to subtract r. because R is more important than 19 and 49. So get the R's together first. So 49 plus what? 34R equals negative 19. Now what? What?
No,
Subtract 49. So that gives me 34R equals negative 19 minus 49, negative 68. Now what? Divide by 34, and what does R equal? Negative 2. Can I check my answer if I want to? I can plug it in. This side needs to end up equaling the same thing that side equals. Okay? You can do the steps in a different order and still get to the same answer. As long as you're using the steps correctly, then you're using the properties correctly, and you can still get there. All right, number 14. You have $56 to spend on 3 raffle tickets. After buying them, you had $41. How much did each raffle ticket cost? Question mark. Okay. So I have $56. That means it's got to be by itself on that side. I can't add anything to it because that's all I have, right? To spend on 3 raffle tickets. So I bought 3 raffle tickets at, I don't know how much per ticket, right? How much money did I have left?
41.
Okay. So where should I put the 41? I can't do a plus 41 here, can I? Because that would mean I had, what, $97, which I don't have. So I'm going to say that 3 times the number of tickets, 3 times the cost of a ticket, plus the $41 that's still in my pocket, together equals $56. Right? So I'm going to start off by subtracting the $41 to see how much I spent. What's 56 minus 41? 15. So in other words, after I bought the raffle tickets, I noticed that I spent 15 bucks. So how do I find out how much each raffle ticket cost? Divide by 3, and X equals $5. So each raffle ticket was $5. So in other words, if I bought 3 raffle tickets, that would be 5 plus 5 plus 5, right? Plus the $41 still in my pocket should equal that total of $56 that I started off with. 5 plus 5 plus 5 plus 41, there's the $56. Okay? All right, last one I'm going to do for you. Number 16. By the way, I was going through and mentioning the sections. The word problems are in C3. You need to go back and look at this, and the area and perimeter is C4. So if you want to go back and look at those notes or watch those videos, doesn't matter to me. A rectangular field has an area of 357 square yards. That's the way we abbreviate square yards right there. Its length is 21 feet. Find its width. Okay, so I have a rectangle. And I know that one side is 21 feet. If I was finding perimeter, I would label the opposite side also as 21 feet, and I'd be talking about adding up the sides. But I'm talking about area, which means what? I need length times width. So I'm going to call this side X. So to find the area, I have to do 21 times X, which looks like that. That's how I calculate the area, but they tell me what the area is. It's 357. So how am I going to find X? Divide by 21, and X equals 17. And let's give that 17 a name. We're talking in yards, so that would be 17 yards. Now remember, as you saw in yesterday's review, sometimes this might not be your answer. Sometimes, like if this said X plus 10, you might need to take that and plug it back in to actually get your answer. Make sure that you're answering the question that's being asked. Okay? Any questions? Yes. If there's area, it would be like this, not like the one on that homework assignment where you had to square root. Okay? So if there's area, it would be like this. Okay? All right. Happy studying.